Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. Received a question about the education of a young person who their mother is wondering what to do with them in school. They get bad grades in school. Their sibling, who's a fan of my videos, has explained to their mother, look, this isn't really my sibling's fault. This is the fault of the school system. It's a really, really rotten system. You really can't blame it on him. The system's pretty bad off in there. And she's beginning to see and understand and believe and agree with this more and more. So he poses the question to me, could I give them some ideas, some resources on what to do? Homeschooling seems like a big leap, I guess, you know, it really is. And I would say, first of all, forget the idea that the kid will be a socially awkward person if he's homeschooled. That's a myth, and homeschooled kids are oftentimes much more sociable, you know, well-mannered, intelligent. They have some social skills, as opposed to kids that grew up in the zoo prison system that is the public schools. So they don't learn any social skills by going to school with other kids. Not one social skill is learned by that. It's an indoctrination. It's an indoctrination institution, and that's what it was designed as and meant for by Robert Mann in Boston in the 1850s when they started what was called the normal school system. They wanted to indoctrinate the kids. They didn't give any guff about it. They wanted to give Christian values and, you know, the roots of this nation and stuff, and 90% of it was good and 10% was very bad. And today 90% is very bad and 10% is atrocious. They're all gone to hell in the school system now. So don't worry about the kid not going to school with other kids. He'll have more intelligence and social skill if he's educated and knows something about himself and the world than if he's sat in a prison for 12 years. There's a really good analogy. It comes from, I think, from Harry Binswanger, I think, or Peter Schwartz said, a kid doesn't learn table manners sitting at a table with other 6-year-olds. He learns it from adults. So the whole idea of socialization is just it comes from Rousseau, the idea of a natural, you know, nature unfolding, and Dewey. Thank you, Dewey, for straining Rousseau for us like that. Screw it. Socialization is an illegitimate concept. The kid needs to be mature and intelligent. Socialized and adapted to society is a Nazistic goal. So, first of all, take that concern out of the way. Now, what are we going to do about the kid's education? I recommend 4 branches of study. Forget the other branches. Math, science, history, and literature. Those 4 branches. Now, you can start on this curriculum. How old is the kid? 12, 14, 11, 10, 15? Anywhere he is in that age range, up to 16, 17 years old. If you're 25, you could start this curriculum. But start this curriculum, just math, science, history, and literature. And in history, you just start with a good text or two in the ancient world and just go chronologically. Now, I want to give you one resource that would be invaluable to you, and this is about $26, I think, at the Ayn Rand Institute. And it's Lisa Van Dam, Reclaiming Education, the Homeschooling Alternative. She runs a private school in Irvine, California. Not the most expensive private school, but it's up there. And she started with 2 kids in an extra room of this guy's house. And when it was seen how well they were doing, this other guy withdrew his little girl from public school and put her in with it. So 3 students, and then it expanded to 5. And a couple years later they had 9 or whatever. And now they are up to 70, the last number I heard, and that was a year or more ago. So they're probably beyond that, and they've got a waiting list. So They're really successful. They're graduating children to college at the age of 14 and 15, and this is what she says about what you could do in homeschooling, how to do homeschooling, which resources to use, which ones are better and worse, what resources are even available. There's a lot of money you can spend on homeschooling material. Let me show you one here. Homeschooling for Dummies is not one you should buy. This is not one that you should buy. It's got a lot of information in it that has been thrown together to apply to just basically anybody in America, and it applies therefore perfectly to no one, or even approximately. That's one. And then there's things called the Great Book Series, and she talks about that. Go to the Ayn Rand bookstore and pick this up. It's about $30 shipping and handling and stuff, and that will give you 5 years of material to work with. You'll see where to go and what to do, and so forth. Bring the kid home and homeschool. Let him go hang out after 3 o'clock with his friends or whatever. That's fine. You can have a social life if you want to have him play sports or something. But withdraw him from the public school. I would never. My children won't attend public school. I don't care if I, work as a cook in the future, and I make $9 an hour, and I can't afford rent on a $400 apartment. My children will not go to public school. I don't care. They won't. It's a meat grinder, and it's a torture chamber. It's a really, really torture chamber. It's a bad place. I wouldn't put my kids there no matter what. So take him out and start teaching them. Go to the Van Damme Academy website, and they've got whole lists of the books that they use for different grade levels. Excellent, excellent resource there. And they choose very good books. A lot of their books that they read are older, written in the 1800s, earlier 1900s and stuff, but not exclusively. But that's a good resource. Check out Van Damme Academy's website, w.vandammeacademy.com. And it's VANDAMME.com. Now, I have to stress that the most important branch of education is history. Math is important. Science is important. Literature is important, okay? But if you know history, knowledge in literature, math, and science fall into place much easier. The more you know about history, the more context there is to fit those other subjects into slots of study inside of your knowledge of history. So history is not the primary, but it is the alpha among the group. It doesn't supersede the others, but it includes all the others. So history should be the most important area of subject of study. If history he loathes, then just a good book on ancient civilization and one on the Renaissance, and then let him do his math and science. But he has to know something about the world. Do a good go through A History of the Ancient World by Chester G. Starr. This is a really excellent book. No pictures, unfortunately, but that's okay. I mean, there might be 2 pictures in it. But it's a really excellent book. It's frivolous. Pardon me. It's not frivolous. It isn't full of tripe. It's not full of the graphics and all the stuff for ADD that they have in the textbooks nowadays. There's a picture, right? This is a good one. A History of the Ancient World by Chester G. Starr. That'll take you 2 years to get through. If you go through every page of this, that's 2 years of study right there, and you won't be sorry for a day of that. So there you go. That's your first history lesson, and that's got a good long section on the Greeks. So that'll get you started there too. In literature, read anything. Just look at authors from the 1800s and see what you can find that interests you. Now in science,